Hello and welcome
Patrick,
back
you're
to
scaring
Tabletop Dub Shot. Hello and welcome back to Tabletop Dub Shot, a live-action role-playing game with all baristas. I am Renee, your dungeon master, and with me is Bela,
who plays Val begrudgingly.
PE,
Still Buka,
and Jordan.
Always Pierce.
Last we left off, our group of friends headed to a little town of Moonshade Haven to try and find the teleportation circle that would allow them to go back to Alcore to drop off the items that they had, and eventually from there head up to Stey Caria. As they entered the town and they were doing a little investigating and looking around trying to find this teleportation circle, they found a preacher man of some type who was speaking the truth and the wonders of the organization known as the Pyre. Obviously, our friends have a slightly different experience with the Pyre, but after his speech and his sermon was concluded, our group went to go talk to him while the twins Catriona and Talea were looking for the teleportation circle. In that conversation, they found a true believer of some type as they questioned him and were curious about the quote unquote truth that the Pyre has to offer. And in this, they found no traces of magic on this individual. And they said that they were going town to town continuing this message, and our heroes lied, that they would do their best to spread the message of the Pyre as well. After this conversation was concluded, the preacher and his bodyguard continued on to the next town. They found the teleportation circle and were able to head back to Alcore, saying goodbye to the twins. In this conversation, looking through the bag, they had already found a sending stone or a speaking stone, and they promised to maintain in contact. Once they got back home, they were able to discuss with Helena and with their friend Queen Weaver, on the results of what they had found, as well as returning the gem to them. And in this, they informed them that they had to go to Stey Caria, go back to Lenneth Academy, because of Val's message that she had received from her maternal figure back at the academy, Darcy Cherryfoot. And in this, the last thing that Helena kind of shared was that there was an event happening at Lenneth as they were heading there, which was known as the Conclave. And that is where we are now. As Helena says that the Conclave will be happening, there's, I think, kind of like a small silence that fills the room a little bit. It's just the five of you. For Val, go ahead and give me a history check with advantage.
My lovely history -1.
Mm-hmm.
First one was a 7. And then, okay, we're going to stick with that lovely 7.
Cool. With a 7, you have no clue exactly what the Conclave is in detail, but I'll say even with a 7, you've heard the term before. You've heard it as someone that has been living in Stey Caria for the last 5 years as something that doesn't happen very frequently. But you know it is this big meeting of the 9 great houses of Stey Caria. But beyond that, you don't really know who calls it or what's discussed in it. But at the bare minimum, you do know that it is this massive, massive event as the heads of the 9 houses do end up meeting, which doesn't always happen. But yes.
Does Pierce know what the Conclave is?
Nope.
You haven't even heard of.
You've been to Stey Caria, but because it's not something that this is, oh hey, like every year, every 4 years. Yeah. This is like an infrequent. The heads of the households themselves call this, and so you would have no idea, because it's also not something that's announced to the world.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I spent a lot more time on
eastern part of the world.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does Pierce know the definition of conclave? Has he ever heard of the word conclave before?
Go ahead and roll an intelligence check for me.
I think we've all heard of the word conclave.
I don't know. Let's see.
Victoria, I think we all can see.
I got a 7.
7. You've heard the word.
Also heard
Oh no! I'm trying so hard to lean away from my mic. Still, Pierce.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yeah. So a conclave. That sounds scary. At least the way you said it.
You see Helena kind of small nods to your statement, but yeah, it's considered a big event in Stey Caria. It's a meeting of the 9 great houses
When was the last conclave?
that we know about. Maybe 7 or 8 years ago.
So before I got there.
And even then, we don't even know if necessarily that they had one after that. So,
Is there, I guess, a specific reason why you do know about this one then? I mean, if there's chances of conclaves happening when you guys aren't necessarily informed, then why were you, I guess, this time?
a lot of times what ends up happening is word slips, or if there's sometimes we find out more after the fact. For this one, a big part of it is, I mean, Val included in this, we do have some students or some people from Numir that are students at Lenneth Academy. And so the difference with this one being that Lenneth geographically falls south of Stey Caria. And it's probably one of the closest big locations before you enter Numerian territory. And so the conclave will be meeting in Lenneth or at Lenneth Academy.
Do these turn violent? Are the students there okay? Do we need to get them out?
They should be fine. This is typically something that's kept, I think, they're more political struggles and conflict than it is actual bloodshed. But big changes tend to happen with conclaves, and sometimes it does change power dynamics within the households themselves. At the end of the day, he respectfully looks over to Weaver as she's saying this. Your position as queen here is a little bit different than the king and queen of Stey Caria. They're kind of just figureheads.
Val, have you seen or met the king or queen of Stey Caria?
No. They're on the money, they're on the currency that we have there, and the stamps.
Yeah, I mean, it's pressed into the gold over there, but beyond that, they just stay. I mean, they'll be part of the conclave, I think, technically, but they have, within the conclave itself, they have no voting powers. They have no rights. But I mean, there's a reason why they choose the conclave as its form of governing. There's 9 great houses. You'll never have an even split.
That's true.
And so, as sometimes the dynamics can be a little tumultuous in the relationships that some of these houses have, as far as we know. But beyond that, I mean, each of the great houses is seeking its own success. And so we have a friendly relationship with Stey Caria, but as far as the actual dynamics within the nation itself, we do our best to maintain a safe distance from that.
Are there commonalities in events that usually occur after these conclaves happen? Should we be preparing for something?
I don't know what you guys can expect. We haven't been a part of a conclave. Obviously, we're not sitting in on these. And usually people like Her Majesty get filled in on what happens. But those are also the things that they tell us about.
Are we going to be able to teleport in to Lenneth?
I think if you're going to do it, it has to be either tonight or tomorrow. Conclave starts in 3 days. And so most of them will probably be either teleporting in or traveling with their escorts. But beyond that, the one thing that we do know is that they do tend to travel very, very light. Typically, it's only the head or the heads of the house and a guardian or a protector of some type, and that's it.
One
is all that's needed.
Hmm.
So, I mean, obviously, if you need to rest here tonight, but I think once you do that, I don't know if you'll be able to successfully be able to teleport in.
And Val, your mentors in Stey Caria, are they part of politics?
No, not that I know of, unless they're not telling me something.
Yeah. I mean, and also this is supposed to be out of game, but Darcy literally works in the kitchen, and
Sounds highly political to me.
As
You're
most
l-
kitchens are.
you're like,
Yeah,
actually, it's pretty
She
important.
could poison someone if she wanted to.
exactly. She's poised to take over and influence any part of this conclave from the safety of the kitchen.
But yeah, I mean, Darcy works in the kitchen, and then Thell, who that's what the message was about as well, was that Thell was in
Yeah.
trouble. Thell is a groundskeeper there, so both of them also work for the university, or they work for the academy, but both of them are not even professors.
Right. Okay, so if they're not political, is it safe to assume that their troubles don't have to do with the conclave?
I have no idea. I didn't get much detail.
Okay. Well, we should probably try our best to get there as soon as possible. Do you think it's best if we try to go tonight?
I think my concern is those teleportation circles could be blocked at any point.
But how
Being
would we
that
know there's a place to rest there?
We can break into your dorm.
I mean,
Also,
I have keys to my door.
yeah, so I was gonna say, so again, also out of game, as far as because obviously we haven't really spent too much time in Lenneth, we've only talked about it. Val, you obviously have your dorm. A lot of people in the academy share rooms. You have your own, which is great. Sometimes money does pay. Having money does pay, but there's
And I'm a
also
legacy.
you are a legacy, so you do have that. Obviously, like within the actual dormitory itself, there are multiple people. There are like dozens and dozens of students that do live there. But beyond that, I'm assuming that there's probably been times where you probably have either crashed out or spent the night or gone away. And Fell's hut honestly varies. Talking about Harry Potter, kind of Hagridy. He does have his own residence on the property of the academy, but not within the school itself. It's literally out in like the woods.
Okay. So I think we could either, depending on how sneaky we want to be, we could rest in my dorm, or we could also rest in, I know a place a little off campus.
Okay. Well, sounds like we need to go right now.
With the, I assume there's gonna be intense security measures, so with the days coming up, so I think we should probably leave now or relatively soon.
sometime
Um,
tonight.
as you say that, Helena speaks up and looks over at Weaver and just says, "Your Majesty, I know you had offered them an escort of armed guards, but it might not be the best political move to send Numerian guards to Stey Caria if they are traveling. Just because they travel with a guardian protector doesn't mean they don't have scouts."
Right. I observe all of our persons other than Pierce's ring. Is there anything else that would notify another group of people that were from the mirror? I
Not
caress
really.
Pierce's ring on his chest. And I go,
Yeah,
yeah, as I tuck it into his shirt. And
there
I
you go.
tap it. I go, okay, this should be good then.
As far as provisions or anything, this is Weaver speaking. As far as provisions or anything, please, whatever you need, I still want to be able to support you all.
Yeah, I guess we don't even know how long we're going to be there.
How long does the conclave last?
A couple days, probably. It's honestly not more than 2 days, 3 days. It's a lot of traveling for a short meeting, but a lot happens in these meetings.
So about a week. If it's 3 days out, takes a couple days.
And so, I mean, everything should probably be resolved within the week at this point, especially if you travel by teleportation circle. But I don't know what it's like. This is Helena speaking. I don't know what it's like when you are obviously in the academy. The academy kind of is it's a sanctuary in and of itself, but I know there's been talk of the town almost where House Karzari is a little bit eager to gain more political control. And then Val, you would know House Karzari is the house that runs the region where Lenneth is, um, and so
Does each house run a specific region of Stey Caria?
yes, they do.
Okay.
And so because of that too, excuse me, because where the actual king and queen live, it is almost dead center in Stey Caria. But as far as the political lines of each of the houses, there's not one that's set in stone because there's never outright war between the houses, but there's definitely skirmishes, there's definitely assassination attempts, there's definitely things like that. And so the actual lines of their regions tends to kind of shift and sway kind of frequently.
Do we know which family runs the region that Lennis is in?
House Karzari,
Karzari.
but all 9 of the great houses should be there. So I would caution you all to just be careful with what it is. Whatever is happening with, you said his name was Thell, right? Val?
Thell and Thell.
So I would say, I mean, if you got the message a few days ago, this is, I mean, a good window before the houses are even supposed to be there. So it might be affiliate, or they might be associated cases, but it seems that whatever's happening is its own independent thing. And so I would say I would urge you caution as people that have lived or live in the castle, that the great houses of Stey Caria are not to be easily messed with or trifled with. They have a long memory when it comes to people that have faulted them in some way.
I too can hold a grudge.
Then you might be a perfect candidate for one of the houses one day. But we'd love to keep you here, of course. But Your Majesty, this also goes for you as far as trying to use any influence that you might have. If for whatever reason you are investigating or are asking questions, I would just urge you caution to tread carefully in who you ask questions about and how many questions we ask. So Weaver nods a little bit and just says, "Yeah, yes, of course." Then I think that we should find out as much as we can about what's happening, and hopefully you all can figure out what's happening with your mentor Val before things get incredibly dangerous.
Yes.
That being said, I mean, we can continue our conversation. She looks over, like she looks around a little bit, looks at you guys. Are you guys hungry? I'm like really hungry. Can we
Why
like
are they not hungry?
I mean, yeah, I mean, I had like a power bar this morning, but can we, I mean, I would love to continue this conversation and catch up with all of you, but is it okay if we bring food?
Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, wonderful. And then you see that Helena waves somebody over and then they start requesting food. So, and as soon as Helena says something, one of the guards goes towards one of the other main doors, and there's already little push carts full of food and like meats and fruits and vegetables and drinks, as they seem to have just been waiting for the okay to come in. And so at this table, it's just the 5 of you guys, as beautiful. Even the placemats are silken and they're blue and gold and silver encrusted. And you guys get to enjoy a meal while you guys are chatting with Helena and Weaver. Please don't be shy. I haven't eaten really all day, so I don't want to be the only one stuffing my face. So, and you see
it's already eating.
Weaver just goes to town as she has like a plate just piled with food.
Yeah, I haven't eaten in at least an hour.
Oh goodness, an hour.
Yeah, remember when he was eating on his date? That was about an hour ago.
Looks over a
Yeah.
date.
Yeah. He said it.
Anyways,
He said yes. He said,
looks over at Val and at
"It was a
Buka.
date."
Pierce went on a date?
Yeah, he did.
You could call it that.
Oh, I did. And so did he. We all heard it.
We really wanted it to be a date. He kind of messed that one up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, kind of like a little hangout.
Weaver, you
Just
should
the
have
two of
seen,
them.
You should have seen she's playing hard to get for sure, because we gave her a speaking stone and we told her that. Right. No, we had to. We have to.
No, but if she's playing, Pierce is a hard to get her too.
Yeah.
Does he
Pierce.
realize he's playing hard to
Pierce,
get?
you're never gonna find love unless you put yourself out.
That's why he's gonna
I
send
was
the
out
message to
there.
her every
What do you
day.
So you did put yourself out there. Okay.
That was physically.
She's really cute.
No, I think he's taking this literally. He was literally out there in the wild?
She was literally just walking on the roofs of buildings, like, adjacent to him.
Watching him, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We'll
Pierce
give
is
Pierce
just
his.
shaking his head.
We'll give Pierce some time to process. If you guys just said your goodbyes, which I'm sorry that you had to say goodbye to the love of your life, I think you know what, Pierce, will give you a moment to process.
Yeah.
Why don't you send a hey with like 3 Ys?
Yeah.
And a
Exactly.
winky face.
Mm-hmm. And the good news is, as soon as you send it, you can't overthink it because you can only send one message a day.
That's
And
true.
tomorrow you can send it with 4 Ys.
Mm-hmm.
Hey.
During all
Do you-
this, Pierce specifically would have tried to sit next to Helena. And Helena, I also wanted to share some more information from our time in Ravenford and maybe ask some questions about your guys' plan as far as investigating it.
Yes, of course. And this is happening as Weaver, Val, and Book are having their little gossipy moment.
I'm like
where they get
talking to
about
Helena and shaking my head at them, and yeah.
The girlies are girlying.
Oh, yeah.
As this is happening, Helena, because obviously you're sitting next to Helena, Helena's just looking at this and just like a small little smile on her face says, Helena isn't that much older than all of you guys. She's like in her early 30s.
Another possible relationship for Pierce.
Another possible one. But Helena definitely knows the feeling of being in your 20s and meeting someone or whatever. So as this is happening, but as you guys are talking about Pierce right next to him, floor for Pierce.
Yeah, so I think obviously Ravenford is something to focus on, but I know there's more, I guess more so towns around the lake, not quite cities. And we didn't get to travel to all of them. So we're not really sure if any of these other cities or towns were hit by whatever magical occurrences causing what we saw. One thing that we did find in Ravenford was a diary, that journal that I mentioned. And from the time that we found it, it had been about 3 days since the last journal entry.
We will begin our efforts. She goes back to, or she pulls out, as I also take notes. As you're sharing this, she still has the paper in front of her and starts writing down. Yes, no, of course, we will investigate Ravenford first, at least in the southern part of the lake. It is the largest town in Lake Elder as far as the southern portion of the lake. And so if we can, I think, focus our efforts there and clear out any infestation of undead that might be there, our chances of success moving forward will be higher. And so from there, we will investigate the neighboring towns and see to what extent that this gem, as she looks at the door where the gem went out, the extent that this gem had an effect on the people of the lake. And so hopefully it was minimized. I know that the mine that you guys were in is only a few hours away. It's about a 4-hour walk away from Ravenford. And so maybe the proximity itself had an effect on it. When you were in that mining town, did you encounter any undead there or?
No, I was going to say we didn't encounter any undead in the mine town. We didn't spend as much time there as we did in Ravenford. I mean, it's a small place and we spent most of our time in the mine, but timing wise, we didn't find a journal. But as far as growth, like just weeds and kind of vines and stuff on the buildings and such, our guess was about a couple weeks since it had been deserted. We don't necessarily know if the people of the town were hit by this magic that caused the undead, or the magic kind of, or people started hearing about undead, so everybody went home, deserting this town that's not really like a home for anyone, just a working town.
Yes.
So they left, and then, hometowns maybe were hit by.
Well, that would be a good place to probably start an investigation or continue our investigation as well. Most of the people, and as she's saying this, looks over at Val's like that, her parents' contract, they do find people that live by the lake. It's just easier to find people to work there if it's only an hour or so commute for them.
Right.
And so hopefully the extent of whatever this curse is didn't go much beyond that, but obviously we won't really know until we do a little bit of investigating. But I think Ravenford, we know there's a confirmed threat there, and so we obviously don't want anybody stumbling upon the town and
Mm-hmm.
becoming food for these undead. And so we'll probably begin at least our investigation and our extermination there. And then from there, we will probably branch out a little bit.
Quick question for DM. What's the
Mhm.
city that Kat and Talia are from?
They are from Pine Grove.
And how far was it from like the mining town or the lake, I guess?
A day and a half walk.
Okay.
The
So
lake
much,
itself.
much farther away.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll mention to Helena as well. We did encounter some twin elves that live in a town about a day or so from the lake.
Is this where your girlfriend lives?
Yeah.
The small little smile on Helena's face. Okay. I'm sure we can send some scouts to at least check in.
Yeah, I'm not sure. They're quite a bit farther away from the lake than some of these other areas, and I don't know if they're going to be affected by it, but they also are looking into it as well. We initially encountered them in Ravenford, so they were part of helping us get out of the town as it got overrun. But mentioning any of our names, I'm sure, obviously, we wasn't long ago that we just saw them, so that they'll remember. And
well, I mean, thanks to yeah, no, of course. Thank you for. I mean, this is going to be a big help from you three. We obviously didn't know about this transportation circle or teleportation circle in Moonshade. And so that cuts our travel time significantly, cuts us by about a week. And so, because I believe it's only about, I don't know, maybe like a day or so, I think, away from the lake. And so I think from there we can assume that we can travel a little bit more easily and get to some of these places. And so I think it'd also probably be easier to get to, where did you say the twins were from?
Oh shit.
Pine Grove.
Pine Grove.
Where did you say the twins were from?
Pine Grove.
Pine Grove. Yeah. So it'll only be about a day and a half or so. So we'll send some people up north, check on some of the towns. Pine Grove is it's similar to Ravenford. It's probably one of the larger towns just north of the lake. But I think from there we can start figuring out the extent of the curse and then maybe fully exterminating any remaining threats that might be.
Yeah. Just know, I mean, we encountered about 60 or so in Ravenford, and I don't know if we didn't stick around long. I don't know if that meant all of them had gotten or emerged from the lake yet. 60 seems probably not even the population of Ravenford, so
no, not close. But I mean, I'm assuming that some people would have run if they hadn't.
Yeah, I don't think everybody would have gotten hit by the same thing, but
okay.
And then I think last thing, it's unlikely you'll encounter them, but there is a group of mouse people that live outside of the lake that we also encountered.
Okay.
Yeah, a knight of the group there is someone who we spent several days with. Okay. And I think I'd give Helena the best description of Gregory that I can, of like what he wore. Would I have remembered his like armor was pretty much the exact same as anybody else, the other mouse that were also wearing armor?
No, I mean, I'll send one of my own men on this as well to oversee everything. And so if we happen to come across, say, a colony of the mouse folk, then we'll let them know that you three let us know who they were. And, so.
And Gregory we encountered him because he was looking into missing people.
Sounds like a brave knight indeed.
Absolutely. And if you mention Sir Pierce, Lady Valentina, or Buka, he'll remember all of it.
Chen leans in. Not Sir Buka?
Yeah, it's a long story.
Yes.
Are you enjoying your food?
Yes, very much so.
Wonderful. Please enjoy it.
Okay.
He might just be a little bit more confused if he called him Sir Buka than if he just called him Buka.
Okay. I'll write in her notes. I'll keep that in mind. And then as she's looking at Buka, still looking over, just thumbs up in your direction. She's like, yeah. Okay. Wonderful. I will excuse myself from the table. So, Your Majesty, I think there's preparations that need to be made that I would like to oversee. Looks over at the three of you. Thank you so much. You have done us some tremendous service. I know it doesn't seem like it's this huge thing, but it is a huge help. And so I think all these little things that you have provided have honestly garnered way more insight than we even thought possible. And so with this, I think we can keep Queen Weaver a little bit more safe. But I'm assuming that you might be gone by the time I get back, but just know that we are thankful. And then she does like a deep nod towards Weaver, starts to walk away, comes back to the table, grabs like a turkey leg, and then heads back out again. And then it's just the four of you guys. And so Weaver's still just munching away, but I'm so sad that I can't. And she her hand goes into a fist. I'm just so mad that I can't go with you guys.
Yeah, it would be cool to have another adventure.
We'd love to have you with us, but we know that you got to be here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, could you just maybe put some stuff in your bed and then throw the covers on and
But we're not children anymore.
pretend?
We're not children anymore.
Yeah.
Quick question. Helena's gone. Does Weaver drink?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna as she's like speaking, I'm gonna grab my glass and look at her and wait for her to raise it. And then as we cheers right before we clink, I say cheers and chug.
You see that she has like a red wine in front of her, and she has to lean forward so it doesn't start dripping on the beautiful clothes that she's wearing, some of it landing on this beautiful, beautiful tablecloth. And just as she finishes, wipes off whatever dribble was left over and just says, Pierce, I would just like to remind you that as one of the people in my retinue, I can incarcerate you and your girlfriend forever. So just remember that next time you want to try to play some jokes.
Buka stops pouring Weaver another glass of wine.
Just locks in eyes with Pierce. So just remember that, okay? But looks back at Pierce. Anyways, I would love a refill. And then refills her glass.
Okay, Buka, I continue to fill her cup again.
But no, I just know that the life of an adventurer, honestly, it is appealing. But I have duties and responsibilities. But I think with that comes some perks. And so if there's any ways that I can help, or if you guys know that you might need assistance, just know that you do have the queen of a nation in your corner. So
do we have a way of communicating with you while we're
away? Not at this moment, but you said you had a ascending stone, correct? May I see it?
Yeah, I think Valentina has it.
Oh, I do have it. Sorry. Here. I was making sure no drunk messages were sent through the ascending stone.
We don't need any unsolicited messages going out to your girlfriend. They need to be proofread. And as she grabs it, you guys have seen her cast magic a few times, but I don't think you guys have ever just seen her cast a full-on, I think, spell. And then a lot of ritual spells just in the world of 5e and magic and stuff like that. They take a little bit longer. They take 10 minutes or like an hour, depending on what you're casting. This one takes 2 minutes. But you see that she is waving her hands over it, and there's like a soft glow, like a silver light that emanates from her hands, and it's really, really imperceptible. Like the only thing that allows you guys to see it is you guys are sitting next to her. It's just a physical proximity. But you start to notice these small little arcane like sigils start to float right above where the stone is. And it takes her like a minute or so. You see her, chanting something or saying something under her breath. And as she does that, eventually the glow stops. And she hands Val the stone again and just says, and now you can contact me and Pierce's girlfriend on that stone.
Hell yeah.
So it is attuned to my own personal speaking stone.
Do I notice if the spell sounded Sylvan?
Go ahead and make a perception check.
That is the language on your sword, right? Yeah. 10?
10. It didn't. I would say even with a 10, it doesn't sound Sylvan, because I think something in conversation that you guys might have even had is probably the closest familial language to Sylvan is Elvish. And so it's still different, but it's that out of any languages that are spoken in Solivant, those are probably the two branches that are closest to each other, but what she was speaking just sounded like actual arcane language.
Nice.
So not necessarily like a language being spoken, but
Out of game. Did we already ask if either Helena or Weaver spoke something? I reach for Pierce's sword across the table.
I grab his wrist.
Athletics check.
Pull your sword out.
no way in hell Buka's winning. I'm not even gonna make him roll.
No, let's roll. Try to beat my 11, dog.
Yeah, I got a 23.
That's not even close.
Why don't we communicate what you're trying to do in this scenario instead of just grabbing sharp objects from across the table?
I reach
feel like
over to try to grab his sword, and I go,
He would have like the actual handle of the sword. I went for his wrist.
Right. And I look at Pierce. I go, Weaver reads.
What?
Yeah.
We
She's
all
learned-
read.
She's learned. I look at her, so offended. Not well.
And as I just out of like straight protection of my weapon, I accidentally squeezed so hard I actually hurt him.
Just a little.
I almost rolled a nat 20. So
Popped
yeah,
his wrist
I know
back
she
in place.
reads.
Yeah, she's been studying magic.
I get that, but next time just
You have a
say
magic
something.
sword.
Yeah,
I
say
got so-
something. Don't
I
just
got
grab
excited.
the sword.
But
Weaver, do you speak this language that's on this sword that we just found out is magical?
We believe it's Sylvan.
I mean, I don't speak Sylvan, but I mean, I can take a look at it.
Yeah,
And also-
after taking his wrist and pulling his hand off my sword, then I pull my sword out.
Would you know why Pierce's dad would have a magical sword?
I mean, he, even from what I know, he was a very gifted fighter and warrior for Numir, and I mean, he traveled a substantial amount. He was a part of a lot of great warriors and battles, as far as I've been told. Honestly, if anything, Pierce though would probably know better than me. I mean,
He doesn't.
I mean, I didn't know that he had a magical sword, but I'm not necessarily surprised that he had one. It was unexpected.
yeah, I mean, I can take a look. Do you hand it over?
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna say that she will roll. She has a great arcana, actually.
Look at her character sheet.
She rolls a +8 to arcana.
Wow,
Why do I
that's
feel
nice.
like Weaver leveled up so much faster than we did?
Because she's the queen.
the power of reading, folks.
All the private lessons.
I will
of
say,
tutoring.
Weaver is not your guys'. I will say that.
I figured. It makes sense.
Out of game, my thought process is if you have tutors and
Right.
instructors and teachers that are
Yeah.
literally paid for by the crown,
And you don't talk to your friends?
she has more time on her hands. Does she not have more time on her hands?
She does.
No, yeah, it makes sense that she.
So
would be
she
higher
adds a
level.
+8, but she only got a 19 on the die. So for a total of
Yeah.
27,
Darn.
she looks at it and she's like, I mean, I don't really know Sylvan all that well, but it seems like it's part of a longer phrase. The phrase just ends.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing. Something we learned and kind of helped us realize that the sword was magical. There were fewer runes or writing on it when my mother first gave it to me than there is now.
Oh, that's fun. Oh yeah, you will have to let me take a look at this sword when you
Would
come
I
back.
remember how many, like, I guess, runes or characters were on it when my mom first gave it to me? Versus, like, how many are more?
It was short. It literally was only like 2 words.
Okay.
But with Sylvan, it does work similarly the way that you would have kanji or characters in like
That's
a
what
lot
I-
of like
that's what I kinda
Asiatic
figured.
languages. This is kind of similar, where it was like 2 symbols,
Right.
or it was just 2 characters. But now there's 3.
Oh, there's 3 now. Okay.
And she looks at it and she's like, I'm sorry I can't be a bigger help. The only, if my Elvish is anything what it might be, the closest thing that I can, as far as whatever that last word is, the word twilight, or it looks like something like twilight, but I don't know if that's any help. I'm sorry, but I would love to take
No,
a look at it.
absolutely.
I'm sure we can find someone that can help in figuring out what it is. So
Yeah, thank you.
yeah.
Val, I know you're eager to get to Lenneth. When are you wanting to leave?
Why are we gonna end a good time just because? Why are we putting this on me?
Well, I mean, it's no one's holding it against you. It's you have important people to you in Lenneth, which is why we're going.
Right.
So I don't
I
want you to feel
almost
like you're
forgot.
putting us out. We all want to go with you. So
Yes. Probably sooner rather than later, but we can at least finish we can at least finish dinner.
Okay.
yeah, I think if somebody wants to look at it, or if you know somebody that could look at the sword in the next like hour or two, or at least just sometime tonight, then
Best
that
I
would be
could
great.
do. I mean, if you're planning on leaving today, then we probably won't have an actual translation, but I can at least write down what the symbols are.
Yeah, please.
And you see that she, because she was also part of this meeting before you guys had come in. She also does have a little bit of paper, and she is able to like write down what the symbol is.
And as far as, I mean, depending on who you share the information with, knowing it's a magical item, it's has a new character on it than it did before, but I don't know what, I guess, caused that character to appear.
Pierce, how many people have you killed with that sword?
Did I get it before the fire?
You got it after the fire.
Okay. Have I killed anybody or just undead?
Just undead so far.
Yeah. Just like one or two undead.
But they're already dead.
Yeah.
I guess the only thing that you didn't even use the sword for it, but the only thing that you've killed since is the Brood Mother.
Mm,
But use the pickaxe for that one.
right. I mean, I still used it in the fight
Mhm.
quite a bit. But yeah, so technically I haven't killed anybody or anything that wasn't
So
already dead.
let's try to kill more things with it.
I mean, if the opportunity is brought to us, I will. I don't necessarily want.
No. Let's go out and look. I'm kidding.
Let's not.
For fun.
That's especially why we should not.
Okay, queen.
Sorry that I don't want just random things being killed, even if they are animals. Actually, I feel like somehow animals is, I don't know. But
No, not animals, just bad people.
what bad?
Creatures.
What bad?
I don't know.
Yeah, because I didn't kill the wolf either. Valspella did.
Who killed the wolf?
You did.
Oh.
And then
Say.
the other two ran away.
I also almost killed Sir Gregory, but that's another story.
Yeah, but that wasn't with your bow. That was just, anyways.
So no killing random people, please.
Thank you.
If you
No
have to do something, obviously.
promises.
But
Yeah.
But then they wouldn't be so random, you know?
true. So basically, just don't do that. Well, at this point, I think you guys are able to just have this conversation and just enjoy each other's presence, as this is probably the most amount of time you've actually been able to spend with Weaver.
Yeah, probably.
Obviously, you guys have this urgent, pressing matter as far as heading to Stey Caria, but beyond that, you guys are able to just enjoy your time. So I'll say you guys spent a good hour as you guys are just chatting, and she's filling you in on the struggles of being a queen and making sure farmers are taken care of in like the northwest regions of the nation. And she's so that's what I get to do now. But it's just nice getting to spend time, even if the conversation isn't incredibly heavy or topical. But is there anything you guys would like to do before you head on out?
Mhm.
I can't think of anything. I'm still on PTO, so I'm good to go.
We should tell Hicks that Cavino is coming.
Right.
Oh,
Mm-hmm. Right. We gotta stop by your house. Also, I know that Pierce has this ring that lets us travel back here. Is there a way, and maybe Hicks also has something like that? Is there a way we could get more things that let us travel back via the teleportation circle, just in case, Pierce's ring falls off or.
the actual process of it is typically a little bit longer, but the stone that you guys have, as well as Pierce's ring, I think both should allow you transport, since our stones are attuned to each other now.
Nice. Heck yeah. Having the queen's personal number really comes in handy.
It gets you back into the city, so it's not a bad little item to have.
Okay. Should we go see Hicks?
Just Hicks.
Yeah, I
No
was
one
gonna say
else.
we're not gonna see the rest of your family, probably.
Odds are that he is at your house, so
Well,
We can throw rocks at
they
his bedroom.
no.
At his bedroom window, we could throw rocks.
I think he probably lives like outside of the main house.
You make him sleep
Maybe
overnight.
later.
he has his own residence. You're more than welcome to take a look over there and see if he is possibly at his own residence.
No, he's barely over there. That man doesn't sleep. Let's just go back to my home and then hope that no one else is around.
You guys start heading on over. At this point, she says, Weaver's like, I'm going to finish up some things and get some of these notes back to my chambers, but maybe let's meet by the circle in the next hour or so.
Sounds good.
Unless you think your meeting with Hicks might take longer than that.
No, it should be quick.
Okay. And then you see that she goes, and as she stands up, all the attendants and servants that were by the edge come in and they start picking up the food. So regardless if you guys were done, food is being collected.
Some food. I grabbed some food to go.
You start Helena grabbing some food really quickly starts to make a little more sense. But cool. You guys start heading over to Val's parents' home. I don't know if Val would say it's her home, but you go in and you have a key to your own home. So as you enter, how does Val proceed into her home?
Trying to make the least amount of noise possible, but going through the front door, because usually my parents would be in their own like quarters doing work business things just tucked away.
If we knock, would Hicks come to the door?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Maybe
Do you
we
want-
just knock.
This is like, watch it be the one time he's not like working, he's on PTO and it's just, hey dad.
Then we can just walk away.
Even if that was the case, I don't think your dad would answer the door.
Hey mom.
I don't think either of them would answer the door.
Okay.
They
Let me just
it
knock.
go. They just let it go to voicemail.
You answer the ring door or unbranded doorbell. Hello, not interested. Okay, you know what, Puka, you do the honors of knocking.
But I straighten up and I brush off my vest and I reach up my paw and I knock 3
As
times.
you knock 3 times, there's like a moment of silence as you guys have just been standing outside of Val's home. And there is a point where you think maybe no one's going to come. And then after about a minute or so, you do hear the door opening. And you do see Hicks in front of you. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
How may I, Lady Val?
Hi. I lost my key. Anyways.
Yes, please. And then he kind of steps to the side.
No. I have a favor for you. I'm not coming in.
Oh, of course. How may I assist you?
I have a friend coming in, a half elf, half orc named Cavino. He's coming with Manifest and Destiny, and I told him to come meet you at the stables or near the front entrance to bring back the carriage.
Oh, okay. Yes, of course. Should I notify the guards at the gate to if they expect someone to let them in?
Yes, please. And then I hand him a platinum. Actually, 2 platinums. One of them is for you. One of them is for me, or for Cavino. I gave him one before he left, and I told him another one would be as repayment for bringing the supplies back. It was just a last minute. I have to be somewhere else. So he brought it back.
Okay. You found another mode of transportation back. Of course. Well, I will be sure to let your parents know that I have not seen you.
Yes. I don't, you don't see me, you don't see them. The horses just came by themselves.
They wouldn't know which horses are in and out of the stable. It should be fine. It looks over at the platinum. This is much too
It's
generous.
fine. We should treat you better.
Thanks. Thank you, Lady Val. And then he composes himself a little bit and says, well, looks back. No, we will not be making any purchases. Thank you. and whispers a little bit. Please be safe, Lady Val, and
Thank
looks
you.
at the Buka and Pierce and just says, please keep her safe.
Always.
And you guys depart.
I was nervous there for a second
Why?
because he took so long to answer the door. I thought maybe we weren't going to be able to see him.
No, he has his hiding places within our house.
That's good.
He was probably napping, but I didn't say that.
Everyone deserves naps and hiding places.
And PTO.
True. Speaking of which, I'm burning daylight. We got to get going.
You guys
You
don't need to
guys-
do anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Chilling.
Cool. You guys start making your way to the teleportation circle on the first floor again. At this point, as you guys have gone from obviously the throne room down to the second floor, and you guys head out to this massive courtyard area where you guys can find the teleportation circle. At this point, you guys don't see Weaver, but it has only been probably 30-40 minutes. So you guys wait around for like 10 or 15 minutes, and then you start to hear the footsteps before you see her, but she starts making her way to you guys as she's walking across the courtyard. As she's doing this, you guys look as she's looking around left or right, and go ahead and roll insight checks for me.
That's a solid 6.
Oh, I got an 8.
Val, as you're looking at Weaver as she's making her way towards you guys, and she's looking around nervously, I think the idea that she's typically not left unattended is crossed Weaver's mind, and so she's taking like full advantage. But I think some part of her probably feels like someone is watching her or someone should be next to her, but this new role that she has doesn't necessarily grant her a lot of alone time when she's walking even within the castle itself. But she makes her way towards you guys. Okay, are you guys ready to head to Stey Caria?
Mhm.
Okay. I if you guys want to step in, I can actually do this. They haven't let me do this in a while, but I can get us there, get you guys there. I can't go, but
You don't want to come?
I did not say that, Valentina. Did not say that.
No, I meant you can try to sneak away.
I don't know what happens to a country if I just leave unannounced.
Kings and queens go on break. I don't think they also announce their vacations to the public.
I'm not talking about the public. I'm talking about the keep itself. But
Well,
You
they'll
don't have
figure it out.
an assistant of some kind, or
I mean, I have Helena, but she's not even my assistant. But also, the only kings and queens you know are me and my parents. That's it. So,
No, the ones in Stey Caria, they're just there.
do you know where they are right now?
nobody
Uh,
knows where they are right
no
now.
one knows where they are because there's a conclave, but they're not doing anything.
As far as we know. But I mean, either way, like you don't know them. So,
Oh, that's fair.
listen, I would if I could, but it's also not fair for the people that are working so hard here for me to just up and leave. So, as much as I would like to, I think I owe it to these people that do depend on me. So, as much as I depend
You
on
gotta come
them,
one of these times, though.
we'll plan it out. And I think if it's planned out, I think
Okay,
this was.
thank you.
I just found out you guys were leaving an hour ago. So
We didn't even tell you we were coming.
this again, I found out you were leaving an hour ago.
Yeah.
But if I can help in this way, as she cracks her knuckles a little bit, then I would love to. You guys step up into this, again, beautiful white marble dais. Incredibly just feels different than the teleportation circle you guys used in Moonshade. But as that happens, she starts doing some incantations, and similarly, this crackle of arcane energy starts forming around you guys as once again the hair on the back of your necks and on your arms rise up a little bit as the sky above you shifts and changes. And first it's zooming, and then it is afternoon sunset looking light in the sky above you. And then she looks at you as she's finishing the incantation and just says, please come back home to me. And then she claps her hands, and then It's just dark. And the first thing you guys feel is just cold as your vision returns to you. Snow is dropping very gently. And you guys are now in Zenith Academy in Stey Caria. And that is where we're going to end tonight's session. Cue the music.
Val's home.
Love the music.